G'day guys, welcome back to another episode. So about 2 years ago, I did a review of this, the Shimano Twin Power FE 2500 when it was brand new on the market. And that long form video has actually become the most viewed long form video on my channel with over 26,000 views, which actually came as quite a surprise to me. So to everyone who watched that video, just wanted to say a real big thank you. Really means a lot that people are enjoying the content. Now at the end of that video, what I said is to really get a good gauge on how good a reel this is, I was gonna have to put it through its paces and really test it out on some good fish. And I believe I've done that already in the last 2 years. So in the freshwater, I've used it for throwing around Tassie Devils, targeting lovely big brown trout and rainbow trout in our lakes. And I've also used it on the kayak, trolling around lures like stump jumpers, targeting yellow belly and other natives. Now I've used it in the saltwater as well. I've used it targeting lovely big dusky flathead, throwing around big soft plastics and swim baits out at Gippsland and Lakes Entrance. And I've also used it on the kayak targeting snapper, where in the 2024 snapper season, I really gave this thing a good hammering, catching many great snapper with this reel. So I'd say over the last 2 years, it's really been put through its paces, and I've learned a few things about the reel. Now, one of the things I was a little bit skeptical about was about the quality of the components in the reel. Now, the Shimano Twin Power FE has a lot of the same technology as the Stellar FK, but at a discounted price. And what I was most concerned about was where Shimano might have cheaped out a little bit on internal components that might have come up as a problem into the future. Now, I can say that after 2 years, this reel is still silky smooth and it feels just like it did the day I bought it. Now I have put a little bit of grease and a little bit of oil on it, probably I think 1 or 2 times. Now that hasn't been because the reel has started to feel like gritty or dry or anything like that. It's just precautionary, just as sort of par for course maintenance. So this reel still feels fantastic after all this use that it's had. Now one of the other things that I had seen people talk about with this reel was the issue of the super slow oscillation causing wind knots. Now, I have not had any problems with this reel at all regarding wind knots. Now, I probably have had a couple, but it's no more than any other reel that I've used that's got the normal speed oscillation. So that super slow oscillation hasn't caused me any grief. However, I have noticed that when it's under load and it is giving out line under drag, it is an incredibly smooth drag operation. It's smoother than my old Twin Power FD for sure. So that super slow oscillation has not caused me any grief whatsoever. Now we're going to talk about some of the cons with the reel. Now, a couple of these are cons that I had noted when I first got the reel. One of those cons is that the drag sounds all right like this, but honestly, it's a little bit plasticky compared to the Twin Power FD and even the Stellar FK. So it's quite a weak sounding drag. Look, doesn't affect the operation of the reel whatsoever. It still feels great. It still works great. But again, for that much money, I would have hoped Shimano had put in a drag that sounded a little bit better. Now, one of the other cons that I discussed in the original video is the relatively simplistic design. Now, a few people commented on that video and said, give it time, it'll grow on me. The simplified design is great. And look, it's not a bad looking reel. Like, it looks okay, but to be honest, it's never grown on me, the looks of it. For some reason, I love the look of the Stellar FK, which is possibly even more simple than this. But that could be because of that green color that they've done it in. This is more like a gunmetal gray, and I just find it to be a little bit plain. In fact, what it reminds me of is the FD Sienna, which was a $50 reel. So at the end of the day, the designs just never really grabbed me. Now, one thing I didn't pick up on the original review, obviously because the reel was brand new, but after time I've noticed a little bit, is for some reason on the rotor here, I get this little bit of a patina, like a bit of a discoloration, and I've got to get a microfiber cloth to really clean it up to get that off. Now, no matter how much I rinse it with water, that little bit of a patina is always there, and it takes a fair bit of wiping with a microfiber cloth to get it off. At the end of the day, it doesn't affect the operation of the reel, doesn't do any kind of detriment to the reel's sort of use. But again, it's a little bit disappointing for me, but doesn't affect the reel. All right, so now my overall verdict on how good the Twin Power FE is. Mechanically, this reel has been great. It's bulletproof. It's held up to the test of all the punishment that I've put it through and passed with flying colors. It is a great reel. As far as the cons that I've got, look, a lot of it's cosmetic and it's got nothing to do with the reel operation. The drag sound, obviously, it's a little bit disappointing. But what this ultimately means is, as great a reel as this is, it's not my favorite in my collection. That would be the Stellar FK. Guys, if you can splash out on a Stellar FK, you will not be disappointed in any way whatsoever. So, it's a great reel. I do recommend it for people who want it. If you're not worried about drag sound, if you're not worried about looks, obviously looks is subjective, but if you like the look of it, and if you're not too concerned about a bit of a patina, a bit of I don't know what you'd call it, but it's like almost like a discoloration that occurs on the rotor that you can scrub out with a microfiber cloth. Pick one of these up. They're a bit cheaper now than when they first came out. You're not going to be disappointed at all. These are a great reel. So guys, if you like this video, please flick us a like. Chuck a comment down below if you've got any questions about the Twin Power FE. Subscribe to the channel if you haven't already, and I'll see you on the next one.